standard at this point, but we haven't looked at the historic version quite yet. JMM
Okay,
Mars Merkle
Ultimatum
bringing
versus
this
Blue-Eye
historic
Control.
Sultai Ultimatum deck, and a bit more ramp, a few better targets to find for Emergent Ultimatum. This deck is
Should
pretty powerful
be
at going
probably
over top
more
of things, and you're really looking
interesting
to
to
go over
comment
top of the
over.
mid-range
Oh, this
decks
hand is
like the
atrocious.
junked food decks.
This is
What you don't want to be seeing if you're on this Emergent Ultimatum deck is Azorius
okay,
control.
much better.
Counter spells are the bane of this deck's existence, and this is a counter spell deck all around. So as much as I want to be rooting for Jan Morris on the Sultai Ultimatum deck, this is going to be a tough matchup for him.
Well, as Teferi said, let's slow this down and see if Azorius Control can get a win here in a match that they seem to be favored to do so in as we kick things off here with Hallowed
Unfortunately,
Fountain
Blue-Eyed
from
is on the
Ben
draw, so the
Mason.
sensors and all the other spells are not going to line up as well.
Does have the Wolfwillow Haven on 2,
but
so
it's always going to be good against the Vorinclex Emergent Ultimatums if he tries to go for it on curve.
Counter spell, no copies of Absorb currently in his hand, no copies of Saw It Coming, so certainly lacking.
The Foretell here is a good decision, not keeping up Sensor because he's not opponent is not really playing any 4s he would want to play here.
Yeah, that's typically when the game swings drastically into the favor of the control player, is when good old Teferi lands on the battlefield, draws a card, and untaps 2 mana to protect himself or prevent a further spell from being resolved.
Yeah, for Jan does have that Vorinclex in hand, which can serve as an
I guess you just need to censor this.
Ben has the censor
just to not have a 4-mana flyer on the battlefield.
Set up a line where he goes Teferi plus
not going to. Interesting.
But now with the Urian on the battlefield, first that's going to demand an answer from Ben.
So I guess the plan is to just cast out, but he's gonna need to cast out the Vorinclex first.
Kill them before they can do anything
this is so. Video is so choppy.
From Jan Moritz Merkel, as we behold the multiverse and take a look at the top of the library.
Choppy. Well,
so that's
gonna
get
choppy right now.
And another behold the multiverse. It's gonna stay on top.
Yeah, Behold not ideal here. Ben is really looking for
cycling that cast out might hurt a little bit.
But you can't really forego the draw spell because
it's not me. I can tell you, this time it's not me. I'm not the one chopping it.
If you can't find them, try to at least use draw spells to give you a better shot in the future turns.
Doomscar Foretold, making it a 3-mana board wipe. So Yorion gets to hang out for a second. And the turn will be passed back with the sensor still available to Ben. Jan Moritz Merkel's found Pacts of Negation, though. You like free counter
Pacts
spells?
of Negation.
There's some free counter spells. Vorinclex on the stack. What do we see here from Ben? Not going to do anything. Will allow this to occur, and 10 points of damage coming through.
Stream is working perfectly fine. I can guarantee that.
The Shark Typhoon.
Now, whether or not the Wizard stream was working as well, no guarantees there.
Jan Moritz will go for the Emergent Ultimatum.
Actually, this is just going to be Pact of Negation. That's pretty funny. So Pact of Negation, he's forced to censor.
Jan taps and goes Emergent Ultimatum. If Ben doesn't have the counter, Jan just have lethal on the battlefield, and now he doesn't have to worry about using this Pact on the counter spell on the Ultimatum, which means he doesn't have to pay 5 later.
That is super useful indeed, and we have
just land slam ultimatum.
The Emergent Ultimatum. The control
green,
player
green, yep.
Out.
Land
Whatever
slam.
You want to do? Now is the opportunity to do it, Jan.
Yeah, it's go time. Vorinclex is gone, but this absolutely offers the opportunity for Jan to get something like Plane-Wide Celebration, Liliana Dreadhorde General, and Alrund's Epiphany. Perhaps the
what Genesis Ultimatum? Excuse me, Scorekeeper.
If
this is not Genesis Ultimatum. I think you
ultimate Liliana immediately
missed a bit
and leave Ben with just essentially nothing.
So this should be game over, I'm guessing. Actually, Nissa shakes the world.
One of those 2 cards will still be enough to do damage.
Excuse me, it's Time Squawk.
Time Squawk.
Alright, so So extra turn Nissa here.
But, in the back of your mind, you're like, okay, they may whiff. They may have nothing in hand, right? So this is fine.
Well, this is.
Oh, actually, extra turn Valky
for Ben is,
that's
take
pretty
your poison,
surprising.
But either way, things are just going to go from bad to worse.
So he's gonna give him 4 cards here.
So Alrund's Epiphany and Tybalt, Cosmic Imposter, down on the battlefield.
Yeah, and he hit a Teferi.
Hey.
Yep.
Hey, Jan, would you like to play a Teferi? I bet you would.
And a short
Typhoon.
So
good for Ben.
Okay.
Or at least it would if Ben was.
Okay. Yeah.
And Ben is having none of that. He's like, you don't take my planes.
I think he should have just given the Nissa and just.
Oh
no, he was at.
Get into game number 2 here between these.
Guess that was yeah. I guess you can't give him the Nissa because he took 10.
This is a great opportunity.
So he was just forced into that play.
Take out almost all of the removal, and it is time to just load up on the counter spells. It's time to make life harder for the Sultai Ultimatum deck that Jan Marksmerkel has brought to this tournament.
So he gets Nissa, makes a land, hit for 3.
On the other side, for
next
Jan,
turn hit for 6. Yeah, he was just dead. Okay, so
Distortion sitting in the sideboard.
I guess if he gives him both Planeswalkers, he goes to 7, exile. Yeah, okay, so there was just the absolute because he took the 10 previous turn. There was no way
some of the more
get out of that.
Jan may be playing, perhaps keeping in a few copies of Eliminate, considering whether he wants to be completely cold to potential Shark Typhoon tokens or not. But otherwise, things are pretty straightforward from Jan if he does want to keep.
Was it really a one-off Pact Negation?
And just ramp, play big
threats. That's pretty. That just doesn't feel too good. Yeah, it's a one-off Pact Negation.
That an 80-card deck like these Yorion piles.
When you win the game with a one-of out of an 80-card deck.
But it always seems like when they need it, they have it.
Yeah, and it really just asks the question of nobody ever explored this design space because there's no incentive to, right? You can do so many consistent things in a 60-card deck, but as soon as someone offers you a free card, you're like, 20 cards? I can do that. I can play 20 more cards. Don't worry about it.
And
barely an
inconvenience.
It's fine.
Yorion being one of the more powerful companions from Ikoria, just cementing his position in Standard and Historic as we get underway here in game number 2 between Jan Marksmerkel and Ben Zarnace. And turn 1 Thoughtseize, always a good thing to see.
Yeah, Ben took a mulligan. Jan's hand looks incredible.
Multiply. First thing you see, land Thoughtseize. Oh no, it's actually not a multiply. Never mind. He was on the play.
To overload the
okay.
resources from Ben.
I guess then it's not that bad.
This Narset here. The only real question is, does Jan have something like an Eliminate to answer the Narset rather than just leave it alive? In which case he could.
Carnage Tyrant. Oh, hello there.
So gets rid of one of the counter spells. So
it's been a long time since I've seen you, Mr. Carnage.
Oh, excuse me. Gets rid of the only counter spell. Narset is basically just a precursor to a counterspell in this kind of deck, isn't it?
Yeah, so Jan does actually have an answer to Narset and Binding the Old Gods, but the primary reason for taking the Sod coming in his position is he needs that Cultivate to resolve on turn 3. He only has the 3 lands in hand.
Yeah, unfortunately,
land drops, cards like Carnage Tyrant,
with that being true, it's not going to be too great for his future with double Narset.
Saw it coming. So now
and now it's even worse with a top deck Dovin's Veto.
Casts Narset, and then Jan would have free reign to resolve this Cultivate. We'll see if Ben is in the business of letting him have this, or whether Dovin's Veto.
No, you just always veto this.
Dovin says, no thank you, no ramp for you.
And now he slams the Narset. Wow, that Dovin's Veto top deck into another Veto. This is...
Dovin's Veto. Unfortunately, though, she doesn't keep what she finds much of a secret, so Jan's able to find it. No land. How important was that counter on Cultivate?
That counter was game-changing, as now with Narset in
and Teferi 5, right on curve.
That counter was the entire game, Ailey. It wasn't even game-changing. It was just the game.
Well,
here comes
on to game 3
of Dominaria. He's this awesome planeswalker that untaps things and draws cards. Yes. We know what you do. You win games, okay? Cool, fine. Stop showing off.
Ailey, I can't even be mad. I'm an Azorius Control fanboy. I love Teferi. I can't say no, but
Scarab
unfortunately,
God
Best
fanboy to
can
the
say no.
Fairy
He can say no
fanboy.
over
Wonderful.
and over and over again.
The
until
commentator
Jan's
crew
sword is
impresses
broken
yet
and he
again.
nopes out of this game.
Jan, just go. Just leave while you can, man.
Fly, you fools.
Save yourself. Oh man, this is gross.
You know when you're getting
Sensor being
censored
able to
turn
take
7
care of
that
these
something has
threats,
gone
Jan
wrong.
not finding his lands, being able to leave up the mana to pay for Censor, and Ben is just finding everything now. Teferi's going to keep on digging. He's going to find all the cards he can. There's Castle Ardenville, one of the other ways that this game actually kills you, not by irritation, but by creature damage to face.
The rare hidden secondary win condition
Yes.
of blue-white control that doesn't
Yes.
involve the top right concede button.
All right, let's try it again. Maybe it'll resolve this time. Nope.
Getting force spiked multiple times in a row is somewhat demoralizing.
There you go.
And I think Jan
Good job.
agrees with
Imagine
that
this deck having
Yeah,
mana
let's
tide and
get
just
on
mana
out of there
tiding
before
you every
things go
single
from bad to
time.
worse.
That would
So,
be
man,
demoralizing.
that counter on the Cultivate just so
Yep.
backbreaking.
changed the
Jan.
entire game. It all came down to that one Dovin's Veto draw on turn 3 for Ben, and that was all it took. Jan had a hand that otherwise would have flowed perfectly into a potential Carnage Tyrant. Yes, Ben drew a Wrath of God at some point, but there wasn't a guarantee for that to happen. But just right on time, he draws that Dovin's Veto, and that makes all the difference.
Well, if we're going with Gandalf memes, a wizard is never early or never late. He arrives exactly when he needs to. And Teferi also rocked up when he exactly needed to.
Ah, yes, the great wizard Teferi.
Yes.
Yeah, very great wizard.
This is going to be really rough for Jan. Yes, he does have the play on.
He's been fighting the ban list for a couple of years.
Have the opportunity to maybe snowball some draws, at least hit some land drops here, and try to disrupt Ben more. But that game just went so awkwardly there.
Well, let's jump into game number 3 here and see how this goes. Can Jan Martz Merkel get back into this and find the ramp that he needs? 2 Wolfwillow Havens in the opening hand there.
Okay, that's a mole.
Side of things
that's a keep.
too. Yeah, this looks pretty good.
Yes, he can.
Oh yeah, this hand from Ben is a little bit.
You never keep this. This is unkeepable.
Yeah. I mean, you can believe in the heart of the cards. Hello.
Excuse me.
Spicy keep alert.
All right, everybody, hold on to your chairs.
Someone's gonna get a shock.
Oh no! Hello.
No. Hi.
Okay.
Don't judge me.
Jan has options here.
How do you keep this?
The most tempting. A, because it's the cheapest counter. B, because it's the only one.
How are you 5-0 at a championship and you keep this?
That Censor is what can try to dig him out of this. So you see Jan immediately looking at that Censor. The other option, perhaps, the search for his Canta, never did have it. Not going to be any surprise to Jan when that island is played on turn 2. So search was maybe a consideration, as it would have smoothed out multiple draw steps if Ben.
You probably just don't take surge because you're probably just going to casualty. Like, what is this?
Like Jan taking the gamble in his position and saying that maybe you won't draw the land.
This is ridiculous.
How do you keep a 1-lander on the draw and then straight draw 2 lands? Meanwhile, the Soul-type player kept 3 lands in Cultivate and almost never found a 4th one. Meanwhile, someone's here just ripping 2 lands off the top.
The answers that he
Unbelievable
for this matchup.
Yeah, unfortunately for him, didn't draw a land that turn to be able to go Wolfwillow Haven into the Cultivate, but as it's still not complaining
at
the amount
all.
of ramp that he's had. Maybe complaining a little about the number of lands that Ben has drawn since that turn 1 Thoughtseize.
Just unbelievable. Like, for Jan Martz,
there's absolutely no reason to keep that hand. The Shark Typhoons were bad. The Censor is bad. The only good card is the Behold the Multiverse and the Iskanta. That's literally it, and that's just because it gets you out of that spot.
Really asking the question,
like,
and
there's absolutely no reason to be keeping that.
He may choose to let it resolve and just go for a Shark Typhoon cycle here.
He basically kept a hand that said, "Oh, this can be anything," but it's only got 1 land.
On the battlefield,
and proceeded to draw 4 lands.
He needs an answer, and he needs it fast. Polukranos does not give you that much time to sit around and hope to find a way to deal with it.
Oh, no.
Like, the sad truth is that the Sultai deck missed the land drop first.
Pretty much what Jan Maritz Merkel's going to be
The
relying
Sultai
on
deck
here.
missed the land drop first,
The onus is now on Ben to find
while
an
the
answer
opponent
for
kept a
this
1-lander.
big, scary Hydra. Doesn't have one at the moment.
He does not. Jan has the option of putting Yorion in hand and just using Polukranos to punch things, as you said, in order to be able to hit face. I think for Jan, the priority here is not to play into this absorb that he knows is face up now. He's resolved the threat. He's got the hard part of the job done. So now he needs to start
He's got the hard part of the job done. It doesn't make him feel any better, I'm pretty sure.
Not going for the fight. Will punch this poor little shark out the sky.
And the problem is Behold the Multiverse.
5/5, but still a respectable 5/5 indeed.
Because if he doesn't play anything threatening, then he's just gonna get Behold the Multiverse. Or maybe he's just gonna make another token with Shark Typhoon. Beats me at this point.
A little bit of a conservative play from Jan. Certainly not getting as aggressive as perhaps he could have afforded to do so. Just not getting the damage through, but leaving up mana to put some fear in Ben. Obviously, we see in Jan's hand the only piece of interaction is an eliminate, but what Ben sees is 3 unknown cards that could
Please get that Discord out of my face.
If he
I'm not here for your Discord conversations.
He has to give pause and think about it for an extra step before doing so.
Yeah, now he's almost...
Okay, so he's going to destroy a Wolf Willow and leave mana up. That's his plan.
With counterspell backup, instead of casting Teferi on 5 and then relying on the untap to be able
currently, the Sultai deck is ahead
of playing Wolf Willow Haven in a
by
Field of Ruin is seeing play is you have to be really careful about which lands you're putting Wolf Willow Haven on.
Theoretically by a large margin, but in reality by a small margin, because
but now it means that
it's very hard to cast spells into blue-white control player with 7 cards in hand, even though we can see that it is basically nothing.
I'm going to see the draw go here from Ben. Yep. Gonna pass the turn back.
Well, he's been drawing good one-ofs, if he's been drawing one-ofs.
See that resolve. Why do counterspells have
and he's only got 4 turns, and then he dies. So.
I think Jan would also like to see Liliana resolve.
That's the only one he should not cast. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's the only one he should not cast.
Keep dumping things down and see if we get a bite here from Ben. Is what Jan Maritz is thinking.
That's the only one you should not cast. That is the only bad one here.
That one.
That is just a really bad play. That's the only one you should not play in that scenario.
Not doing it in response,
like I guess you can casualties. I guess you just needed to play Liliana there.
And yes, this
like you cannot just threaten him with something that
to be less of a problem if Ben can find.
And now he's got 6 mana, so he's gonna get censored again. Like he can literally just hold these censors and counter his way to a win.
Luckily, they can be cycled away to find a relevant threat.
He does not need to cycle them away. Please do not say stuff like that. Unless the opponent finds land, these sensors are gonna be connecting really hard. So another 5.
Coming through here. Ben down to 10.
Now he's gonna try casualties.
Both of the 6 drops walk directly into another sensor. So,
well, yes, that was sort of the issue.
Perhaps going to stop.
Yeah, if you're gonna Liliana now, that's a really bad play.
To walk into another sensor. I want to force you to use this absorb as much as possible. Yes, the Liliana is tempting, but you know there's a counterspell there anyways.
Don't do it. No.
Bad sequencing, completely bad sequencing. There's no reason he should not have just last turn cast Liliana and play it around. Censor forced out the absorb.
Oh no!
And then he could have slammed whatever he wanted, and now he.
Alright, wow.
It's unbelievable. This is just.
This is the beginning.
A joke of a game.
For Ben, as Polukranos is gone, the clock.
Like the problem is he still knows about this absorb, and the opponent converted 3 sensors.
Going to walk into another sensor potentially.
Oh, this is such a feels bad.
Luckily, he drew the casualties at least. Oh, sorry, the Binding of the Old God, so that's gonna eat the Absorb here.
Certainly get absorbed, and that is the counterspell that.
But I think his graveyard is full enough that now his Scanta's gonna transform and take over the game, so...
No Polychronos back for you, says Ben.
Yeah,
okay, another Binding, but I think the graveyard's full enough.
Okay.
Yep.
7 cards.
Just full enough.
Keep this and still
flip, transform, and there should be no more chance for the ultimatum deck from here.
The Sunken Ruin available to him, so this is maybe
that one decision he made. That one decision to cast.
Oh God, this is
Cura Best of Sea God over that is what cost him here, pretty much.
Oh God. Oh my God. Lest we forget, Ben kept a 1-lander this game.
Then he just finds more. Oh,
keeping a 1-lander, so it's still no excuse for not playing around Censor. Like, literally, when you know opponent is running a playset of Censor and he has not shown you a single copy.
Oh boy. Alright, you just gotta work through the counterspells, Monty. It's okay. He still has 4 cards in hand. Okay.
Haley, that is so much easier said than done.
I am an eternal optimist against better judgment.
He should activate a Scanta now on his turn in case he hits the Fairy Time Hero of Dovenaria, not Time Reveler. Not the banned one.
I know.
Okay, that's a misplay. He should have tapped out on his turn while the opponent was tapped out.
But one can hope.
And he's aware of that Dovin's veto, and
now he acts
now flip, so the train of counterspells
he vetoes into 3. No, he needs to activate his Scanta. This is his last counter. Is he gonna shark for 5? That isn't even a 3-turn clock. I don't know if that's.
What can we follow up with, if anything here?
Smart move.
Why not beyond Mord's Merkle?
Yeah, I should have started with that. Found Absorb. You should do it on his turn.
Alright, well...
Please do it on your turn.
Can whiff, right? It's
not. So he's just committed to winning with Shark Typhoon. That's basically it.
I don't know about you.
Alright.
Well, that Yorion's not gonna need a counter, unfortunately, because you know about the Shark... Like, this sequencing is just...
I believe that one is allowed to resolve.
The sequencing is just going off the rails for both of these players, like... He should have just gone for a Shark Typhoon token here because it completely nullifies Yorion. Or he should have Scanted on his turn, gotten a Teferi, and then Teferi'd. Opponents not going for an ultimatum because this Yorion just doesn't do anything.
See a big old Shark Typhoon here. It will die.
Like, that one turn, not playing around Censors would cost him the entire game.
Yeah, the life of that shark is a price that Ben is willing to pay here, indeed. And the Super Friends are really, really coming together here. Ben's Justice League, as it were, as he's about to tuck this Yorion and can even afford to play Narset while leaving up Absorb if he wants to do so. But
how did this happen, Monty? I mean, he kept a 1-lander.
I think Jan is asking himself that exact same question. Is my
and
hand?
I've got the answer,
my
but
opponent's hand looked.
He's probably not gonna believe it.
How did we
because
get
he didn't
here?
play around one Censor.
Oh, cool. Let's just get some more nopes. There's a Wrath of God.
We're looking for the
one Censor. Like I'm not
Ben.
Like the Thoughtseize on the Censor, that I think was a good play. Like, I think that was a good play to pick that over Escanta. I think that's more likely to be the card that pulls him out of that mulligan. But him playing around Censor is just terrible to watch. He was unable to play around it even once. Even try to at least play around it.
Sultai Ultimatum. I was hoping for it to do